Good afternoon to one and all gathered here. Sir, shall we start, sir?
Sir, shall we start, sir?
Yeah, please, please, bro, sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to one and all gathered here. Education is the most powerful weapon which can change the world. On behalf of Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Institution Innovation Council, I welcome you all for the webinar on Implementation of National Education Policy 2020, which exclusively for the staff members and administrative responsibilities. Prayer is more than a wish. It is the voice of faith directed to God. I like to invite Dr. Alagappa Moses, Vice Principal Aided, to start the session with God's blessing words. Please, sir.
Let us pray. Our loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together as Kiba family. We thank you for the Internal Quality Assurance Cell and the Institution's Innovation Council of Bishop Heba College. As the IQAC and IIC is organizing this implementation of national education policy, for our staff members, those who have been assigned with the administrative responsibility, we seek your abundant presence and blessings in this meeting. Lord, bless our principal, Dr. D. Paul Dayabaran, our esteemed resource person of the day, Dr. E. Ram Ganesh, the Director, Institute of Entrepreneurship and Career Development. Lord, we place under their mighty hands the convener of this program, Dr. Umesh Samuel and Dr. Prince Molin, and we have Dr. Suresh Frederick also of the Research and Development, and the co-convener, Dr. James Manokaran. Lord, we seek your abundant blessings amidst our meeting and bless each and every one of us gathered here. As we discuss about the national education policy, we seek your guidance and its blessings and bless our resource person and bless each and every one of us gathered here so as we can proceed in the right direction with reference to the national educational policy. Bless us, O Lord, in Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir, for leading us with humble prayer words. Welcome to those who believe in the power of dreams and join in exploration of adventures. With this note, I would like to call upon Dr. Umesh Samuel Jabasilan sir, Vice Principal Project, to welcome the gathering.
Pleasant good afternoon to one and all gathered here. Most respected beloved principal of this esteemed institution, Dr. Paul Dayabaran, the esteemed chief guest of this function, Dr. E. Ram Ganesh, head of the departments of various disciplines, coordinators, and dear faculty members. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all for this implementation of National Education Policy organized under University Grant Commission, MHRD. Indeed, it's a pleasure for me to welcome our beloved principal. And as you all know that our principal is a very busy person. Even today, he's got a lot of appointments. And in spite of all his busy schedule, he has made it possible to preside over this function. And he is always warm, human, understanding, a dynamic person. Under his able leadership, Bishop College achieved the pinnacle of academic excellence. I'm happy to welcome you, sir, for this particular webinar on national policy. I also welcome the renowned resource person who is none other than Dr. E. Ram Ganesh, who is not a stranger to Bishop College. And in fact, rather I would say that coming to Bishop College or speaking to the faculty members of Bishop College is home for him. He is a renowned person. He was holding so many positions, high positions in Bharat University, like registrar, finance officer, Director, College and Curriculum Development Cell, and currently he is the Professor, Department of Education Technology, and as well as Director, Institute for Entrepreneurship, Career and Development. Sir, I know that you are a very busy person. I think just now you returned from Punjab University to deliver a guest lecture. And on behalf of Vishayaba College, I welcome you, sir. I also welcome all the head of the departments from various departments, the coordinators, the deans, associate deans, as well as the faculty members who have willingly attend this particular program. Thank you very much. Hope this particular webinar is going to be very, very useful in terms of understanding the National Education Policy 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the road and always about the goal. I invite such a wonderful leader and motivator, our beloved principal, Dr. Bal Dayabaran sir, to deliver presidential address.
Thank you. The esteemed chief guest and resource person of today's webinar, Dr. E. Ram Ganesh, the Director, Institute of Entrepreneurship and Career Development, and Director, Deen Dayal Upadhyaya, Knowledge Acquisition and Upgradation of Skilled Human Abilities and Livelihood, Center at Banaras University, beloved Dean of IQAC, Dr. Mrs. Principal, Dean R&D, Dr. Suresh Frederick, Vice Principal for Project, Dr. Umesh, and our colleagues from Innovation Cell, dear Vice Principals, dear Bursar, Deans of different disciplines, heads of different departments, coordinators, and my dear colleagues who are online. Good afternoon. I welcome all of you for this useful webinar on the implementation of New Education Policy 2020. So, dear friends, we are educators, isn't it? It requires updation. Ever since millennium onwards, our leaders, bureaucrats, academicians, advisors, technologists, scientists have been thinking about modernizing the education, updating the education. For the past 5 years, we've been talking about new education policy. So, dear friends, we are mainly concerned about, though it's a global phenomenon, we are in higher education. So, we have to concentrate mainly on undergraduation, post-graduation, research, and other connected programs. So, these days, they talk about 3-year program, 4-year program, and they talk about multiple entry, multiple exit. Already, they introduced bachelor vocation program, and they introduced many skill programs. So we've been very active past since 2014-15 onwards. All the colleges, universities have been very active with introducing innovative programs. Of course, these days we have to face pandemic. So though it has paralyzed us, mentally we are not at all paralyzed. We've been very active, and of course, what has enabled us to find the new strategies to overcome all the hurdles. So government also, without delaying, they have planned to implement the new education policy at the earliest. So here we have a reputed academician, of course, Art has well experience. He was holding the VC office, he was in register office, and he is a close friend of us. He involved in organizing many activities. He's an education technologist. So I'm sure his mere presence, his talk will inspire us, will kindle our mind to rightly focus. What will be the challenges? So, though we criticize, though we deliberate, ultimately, on one day we have to agree and we must carry on. After all, we are here to educate the students who are in teens. So, my dear friends, we are assigned the biggest responsibility of grooming the youngsters. So, if we fail, then who else will make them to be successful citizens? Anyway, we are involved in basic education, life education, arts, commerce, and whatnot. So these days, we are in balance with engineering technology. So it's a very pleasant time. In fact, it's golden time for arts and science programs. Many, without choosing engineering and other professional programs, they show very much interest in joining different arts and science programs. So we also do some good things creatively. So we talk about outcome-based education. We talk about various parameters we satisfy. So now and then we are facing MHRD, we are facing UGC. So once in 5 years, we have to go for application by NAC. These days, every year, we are supposed to submit the data to NARF in different dimensions. So NAC, we got 7 criteria. In NARF, we have 5 criteria. So we have to satisfy all. And throughout busy, perhaps college staff no. Though we are in pandemic, we were somewhat relaxed only during the month of April and May. Ever since +2 results have been published, we've been very, very active. Even during the month of April, now and then we used to conduct staff council meetings and comprising heads to plan for this academic year. So we've been very, very active. And of course, in fact, these kind of meetings are more in number than what we used to have earlier when we meet the students in person. So at the juncture, I appreciate the deanery here. They conduct this event collectively, the coordinating deaneries. We have an innovation cell contributed by Professor Umesh and Dr. James. We have IQAC Dean, and we have R&D Dean. So 2 deaneries in coordinating with innovation cell. We organize this program for the benefit of the members of faculty. So dear friends, anyway, we must always welcome changes. Though we hesitate, we are reluctant. Once we fix our mind, then there is no question of turning back. Fine, whenever we introduce any good things, initially we may find a lot of drawbacks. Once we are accustomed, then it is possible. Now we really wonder, how is it possible, multiple entry, multiple exit? In 1 year they can go to the diploma, they can come back and work. In 2 years they can move to advanced diploma, they can come back and work. So far it didn't happen. We introduced 2 below programs. They join, they continue to study, isn't it? And moreover, in 5-year program also, there is a break. So it may be surprising. Maybe somehow it's the biggest country, it's a highly populated nation. It's one of the biggest democratic nations. We have the maximum number of youth we have. Somehow we always wonder, is it the only nation where our young employees are working for other timings? It's really sad. In no other nation, they work for other nation timings. If you take our people these days, government is not the biggest employer. They were once the biggest employer. Now, corporates rule the nation. Unfortunately, we have plenty of multinational companies. So we get projects from overseas. We have plenty of our students. They work for other nation timings. Timing means they started sometime in the afternoon, noon, or sometime late in the afternoon. They go up to midnight, or they go to early hours. They work 5 days. So really sad. I don't think so in any other nation. They work for other timings. Only in India, we allow our young blood to work for timings of the nation. It's points ahead. It's high time that educators we have to think, and we have to create a lot of employment for our students. In case, if we do a lot of master's program. How many are working in our city? It is a big city now. We have a lot of arts and science colleges, good colleges. We have business institute. We have recruited NIT. We have medical college. We have business institute, IIM. Maybe all have to go to the state capitals. And the two, they work in different timings. So really sad. In no other nation, maybe we must find a solution. As we introduce new education policy, we must think to create more employability. And many are underemployed. They should be rightly employed. So dear friends, that's the reason why the government is taking a lot of efforts for changing the pattern of education. If it will be changed, maybe obviously our student friends will procure a lot of skills and they may be fit themselves enough to take any employability. So with this word of introduction, maybe we are going to listen to an expertise at the juncture. I appreciate and congratulate each and everyone who is made responsible for this event to happen. So today we are also started the online in pre-semester examinations. So many are busy. Sorry for troubling you. Anyway, let relax and go. And when you take lunch, maybe late lunch when you will take, and you can listen to Sar's address, and that will get motivated, get charge yourself, and you can give the best for the institute. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you, sir, for your brief introduction and inspiring words. Don't limit your challenges. Challenges your limits. Now I would like to invite Dr. Princy Merlin ma'am, Dean of IQAC, who always encourageable and very approachable person, to introduce our chief guest. Please, ma'am.
Respected principal sir, the organizers, respected renowned speaker of today's program, Dr. Ram Ganesh sir, and dear participants, good afternoon. I am very glad to introduce the chief guest of today's program, Dr. Ram Ganesh, Professor, Department of Educational Technology, Director, the Institute for Entrepreneurship and Career Development, DDU Kaushal, Bharathidasan University. Sir had served as adjunct professor at University Penington in Malaysia during the year 2018 to 2019. He is a member of IQAC, Bharathidasan University, and serving as the nodal officer for 10 constituent colleges of Bharathidasan University. He had received several awards, including Shiksha Ratan Purashakar Award for Best Services in Education and Best Citizen India Award from International Publishing House, New Delhi. Sir has completed several projects funded by ICSSR, UGC, Tamil Nadu government and other agencies. He had organized several workshops and published more than 50 articles in several refereed and peer-reviewed journals. He had presented around 69 research articles in various national and international conferences. He had authored around 26 books and delivered more than 500 lectures. I assure this webinar will be very useful to all the participants. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our chief guest to take over the session. Please, sir. Over to you, sir. Please, sir.
Most distinguished Principal Professor Paul Dayamanan, respected Professor Umesh Samuel, Madam C, and Deans, Professor Suresh, Frederick, and my dear colleagues from Bishop Iber College. It gives me immense pleasure to be part of the webinar organized by IQAC and Institution Innovation Cell on the topic implications of National Education Policy 2020. It is a bit, in fact, it is surprising me that we are all in Trichy, but still we are meeting virtually because we are in the midst of COVID outbreak. Now I am not able to reach the next campus and meet my friends physically, so I am deprived of a meeting. But anyhow, thanks to technology, because technology, but for leveraging technology, sometimes we are not connected today. In that way, we have all explored the alternatives to meet each other. So I must really thank God for having given benevolent blessings to get connected, especially with the teachers of Bishop Iber College. And I think you must take pride and proud that it is one of the famous and fabulous institutions across the country, because you have already proved to the world that you are delivering goods to the country in terms of teaching, in terms of research, in terms of extension and technology development. So in that way, as our principal rightly pointed out, I think we have to accept the change. Accepting the change, I think we have got to explore something new so that the younger ones will get benefited out of it. So instead of criticizing, sometimes Indians are very good at criticizing. Whether we create something or not, we are good at criticizing things. But instead of criticizing any policy, 1968 new education policy was dropped at 1968. For it got a lot of criticism for about 15 to 60 years. Therefore, the program of action had happened only 1990. See, policy was dropped at 1968, but program of action had happened only 1990. So after a very long period, as our principal rightly pointed out, a galaxy of experts, a gamut of experts, or galaxy of experts cutting across different domains, industry and then scientists, academics. So different domain, now they have put their mind back and they think, something the national innovation policy would really give us so that we would be able to have global competence. That is very important actually. It is need of the hour now. Bishop Weber College, which with its caliber, it has to attract students from other parts of the globe. Certainly, but because of some, liabilities, some bottlenecks, we are not able to attract students because we saw problem, things like that. We may not be able to collect, in dollars, things like that. That is the reason even IECD also, we have got some foreign organization to collaborate with us. They are ready to collaborate with us. But the thing is, the rules and regulations sometimes prevent us to collaborate with them. But I think this sort of policy is implemented, that would be broken up. So in that way, we have to accept the change and we will explore for the implementation, effective implementation. And I'm sure that the policy, in fact, focuses on the ideals which were already left by great institutions invented by India. India is the country which invented universities to the world. Even Taxila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, Vallabhi. So great institutions, great university. The concept of university, was introduced to the world by India. In that way, if you go through the history of those universities, people from other parts of the world, came down to India for the pursuance of higher education. India attracted students from China. India attracted students from UK, Europe, even Western countries. But now it is not happening slowly. See, I used to analyze the concept, like Taxila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, Vallabhi, many institutions. But you see, these institutions have been lost. These institutions were already lost. But certain universities which emerged long back, for example, Oxford, Cambridge, Colorado University, Harvard, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Stanford, these universities, had their emergence after a couple of decades, but still they exist. That I think we'll have to understand. We invented universities, but those universities were lost. We were not able to gain momentum, keeping those universities. Although these universities had left a huge legacy, the values, perhaps we want those values to bring it back. Therefore, it is a good blend of, traditional and modern thoughts. And when I went through all the 66 pages of national education policy, I was able to experience and taste that the policy had been drafted with a blend of traditional and modern knowledge, traditional and modern values, traditional and modern education. In that way, it gives me some kind of experience that the policy would be much useful. That's what I personally feel. So that we would be able to attract students from other countries, other parts of the globe, and we would be able to ensure, quality enhancement and quality culture in higher education institutions. And nobody is going to be deprived. That is very important. See, before the policy was adopted, perhaps the government initiative was to improve gross enrollment ratio in higher education. Right now we are 26.3. By the 2030, I think they wanted to make it 50%. Another 10 years, they wanted to make it 50%. It is good, but what about the dichotomy that exists in higher education? Quantity versus quality. You improve your gross enrollment ratio, but what extent it would be able to address the quality? That's very important. So here we have to meet the global demands. I think we are all aware. We have got such a great poet, Kaniyan Pungundrana. Yadum Ure, Yavarum Keli, Tidum Nandu, brother Vara. Analyze you see, all our initiatives should meet out the global demands. That's very important because everybody is our brothers and sisters, not only in India. That is what the broad vision of Kaniyan Pungundrana. So whatever the initiative that we take up must meet up the global demands. And now you see, by leveraging high profile technologies, we have enough space to collaborate. Now you see American universities can collaborate with the Bishop Paper. Bharadas University can collaborate with universities in UK, Germany. It is possible now. Therefore, a huge collaboration is possible. And we can exchange our expertise. We can exchange our stakeholders. We can exchange our teachers. Now you've got a beautiful idea called COIL, that is collaborative online international learning, where you can have virtual community. You would be able to identify experts in your field, and you can be a member so that a particular course syllabus, the syllabus of the course, can be taught by Bishop per teacher and Harvard School, which is possible now through COIL. So now we are able to, exploit high-level technologies, which is at our disposal. Sometime it is very cheap. It is not very expensive as far as our notions are concerned. Therefore, and some initiatives are being taken. You see, I am so happy when NEP was adopted. You see, it was followed by a beautiful initiative by Government of India that the CEO of Google, Mr. Sundar Pichai, now came down to meet our Prime Minister Ji, investing $10 billion, $10 billion US to help our rural India to access all modern technologies. So in that way, rural India will be given access. And this is the decry. In fact, I don't know about Bishop Paper College. Even Bishop Paper College, we are also taking students hailing from rural area. Is it not so? We take students from rural area and we offer, we conduct classes through online platform. Only 50%, 60%, maybe 80%. The 20% the rural area are not able to access this for want of internet. So you can't just blame the system. Something is better than nothing. In that way, online is the best alternative, but still it has got its own bottlenecks and barricades. But still, you see, the once policy was adopted, many good initiatives are being taken up. Now, the whole world come forward to access, to help rural India to access. So this is the things, which is happening normally. And the policy, when you just look at, it gives a lot of importance to skill and entrepreneurship. That is another one good idea that we'll have to take cognizance. Skilling and entrepreneurship and startup. See, India aspires 5 trillion economy in the near future. By 2024, India aspires to have 5 trillion economy. So we have to address economy as our Prime Minister Ji, first Prime Minister of Independent India, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru rightly pointed out, but for quality education system, the economic growth and social transformation would not be feasible to India. The economy, social transformation, both are important factors. So the academia has to address, that's what the new education policy is focusing. The academia has to address the economy of India. That is the reason they have used to TRIDE. TRIDE is a project, the expansion of India's development economy. Any project that you do, it should address India's development economy. Therefore, economy, social transformation. What extent the academia is really addressing the economy of the country and social transformation of the country. So, which are both important factors. I think we have to shoulder the responsibility, and the national education policy is focusing on that. So, one is skill development and entrepreneurship, and they, India, especially government of India, aggressively, I would say aggressively take a lot of initiatives to nurture the innovation and startup ecosystem, especially. Startup is another important foci. One of the foci of focal points of national education policy to introduce startup systems. And India is the third world largest in startup. Third largest in startup ecosystem. So we have got tremendous potential. That's what I wanted to say. And I think we have to really put our mind back. We have to have meticulous effort, as our principal rightly pointed out, multiple entry and exit options. 4-year degree program, 3-year degree program, 1-year PG program, 2-year PG program. I think, we all have to put in our intelligence here. And you see, as far as implication, I think implementation part, we'll have to think it over, but still it is beneficial for the students, because nobody will be dropout. See, nobody will be dropout, and they can just be on their own interest. And, suppose nobody will be deprived of higher education opportunities. In that way, lot of advantages, as far as my little knowledge is concerned. National education policy comes out with a lot of benefits, lot of good ideas and ideals, so that I think India will be able to be a superpower country, dreamt by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam by 2020. Perhaps another 10 years, I think we have to become superpower country, and we would be able to face. And I'm so happy, and the statistics launched by Prime Minister Ji, that we are supplying medicines for 160 countries. India is supplying medicines for 160 countries, and India is exporting grains and crops to other countries. These are all very good developments we happen, because normally when I go for NAC accreditation, sometime I get a chance to chat with eminent professors. They used to always come out and say they always glorify teachers in the past and they decry teachers in the present. Those days, gone are those days, we had very good teachers, and they decry teachers in the present. And we don't have good administrators, we don't have good teachers right now who can replace the teachers in the past, administrators in the past. But I totally disagree with them. You see, those days when Morarji Desai was the Prime Minister, I don't want to take much time, because I am looking at the facial language of Professor Umay Samuel. Only one point I wanted to tell you, because I wanted to motivate all youngsters here, because for about 100 youngsters are sitting in front of me, because I wanted to motivate them. We have got very good teachers. That's what I wanted to say, because the experienced teachers always glorify teachers in the past and decry teachers in the present. When Morarji Desai was the Prime Minister, he called upon people to skip a meal a day. Only 2 meals he wanted us to have, not 3 meals, only 2 meals, because India was not able to supply, paddies to food to feed everyone. Those days only 80 crore population, now 130 crore population. We are able to supply medicine to 160 countries. We are able to export paddies and crops to other countries. So how can you underestimate our teachers? I tell you, sometimes the teachers in the present are far better than, sometimes, I'm sorry to say, perhaps they can replace the teachers in the past. I don't say teachers in the past, they are all very good. They have left a huge legacy for us, huge character for us. We adopt the legacy and character left to us, and we are able to replace them. That's what I wanted to say. For want of time, I think I will straight away go to the, my PowerPoint, because time is. What I am going to do for you today, what and why of NEP 2020 and significance of national education policy, school education implication, because we have got to understand, though we are in the higher education system, I think it is very important, imperative for all of us to take cognition what is going to happen in schools, because we have our intake from schools. Therefore, we have to understand what is happening in schools and what is going to happen in schools. So I thought I can spare some time to discuss with you and significance of NEP in higher education and the implications, and NEP in teacher education, because our students will access the teacher education also, our students will access vocational education. In that way, National Research Foundation and Higher Education Council of India now everything is going to be in under one umbrella. UGC, CSIR, and all this Academy of Sciences, everything is going to be put in one umbrella, that is Higher Education Council of India, and major reforms in school education and higher education. These are the things I'm going to discuss with you very briefly, because I know your time is very precious. Even in the pandemic, we are all connected here. Therefore, very briefly, so that I think we will find more time for all of us to share our thoughts. We can just exchange our thoughts so that we will see, okay, how best we can discuss this national education policy. Now you see the pillars of my perspective. So I'm going to give you my perspectives. After reading the 66 pages, I think my perspectives of NEP 2020, the pillars of NEP 2020, access, equity, quality, affordability, accountability. The access is very important. See, I still remember, in my own family, we have got 5 members. Only myself got into higher education system. My sisters, were not able to get into higher education system because there were no higher education institution in our native place. My father is a school headmaster, but still, he could not find, how do you say, he could not find a platform for educating, providing access for my own daughter, sisters. So now the access is possible. They say by 2030, the gross enrollment ratio will be 30%. RUSA, Rashtriya Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan, which says the predominant aim of RUSA is going to be universalization of higher education. So that is a good point actually. Universalization of higher education, everybody will be able to access higher education. So that is a good point actually. Everybody will be able to access. And equity, perhaps equity I appreciate, but at the same time, equity versus excellence. The dichotomy must be taken into consideration. Equity, everybody can access. Socioeconomic status, irrespective of socioeconomic status, irrespective of disability, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, socioeconomic status, and all that, equity is possible now. Quality is maintained, quality, because they are going to develop a lot of infrastructure, and you see National Curriculum Framework for Higher Education, NCF achieve. National Curriculum Framework for Higher Education is going to ensure that quality will be ensured. The quality, I know that talks about quality, that is the prime aim of developing the framework, understanding the quality of the institutions. Therefore, quality is going to be maintained, sustained. The affordability, the fee is going to be very affordable. You see, even post-matric scholarship for the students. The scholarship is introduced. Meritorious rural students will be given scholarship. Suppose if I am so happy that the recent development, reflects on national education policy. The 7.5% in NEET examination, government schools, and they are not affordable. Now government says we will pay, we will take care of your fees, tuition fees and everything. It is a good symptom. Students of rural folk, is really they are motivated. Nobody wants to join in government schools. Now they are interested in joining government schools because you got a reservation policy, 7.5%. If you prove to the world, I think you can become a doctor. So becoming a doctor, is not our herbal tea, cup of tea, For those days, becoming a doctor is not our cup of tea. Now it becomes your cup of tea. Even government schools, and even students from very poor socio-economic status, hailing from government schools, could become doctors. So meritorious scholarship is given. That is why here also affordability and accountability. So accountability in the sense, the people, those who access education will be able to have blend of knowledge, skills, and character. So in that way, accountability is there. Whatever you learn, now you develop skills to represent your knowledge. That is an idea. So therefore, I would call pillars of NEP. And my perspective is making students independent learners. And more importantly, self-reliant is very important, because the country is aiming at making this country Atmanirbhar Bharat, Akhanda Bharat to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Yeah, gone are those days we had Akhanda Bharat. Now Atmanirbhar Bharat. What is Atmanirbhar Bharat? Self-reliant India. Now you see, we are able to prove ourselves. We have launched a satellite without getting any resource from anywhere. We have got all resources. So tremendous potential we have, human and other potential we have. And I am sure that national education policy that definitely will throw light to achieve Atmanirbhar India. I mean self-reliant India. Therefore, making student independent learner is very important. See, if you ask me, so many great educationists, great philosophers, they defined education. You are all aware, because Bishop Weber College teachers are aware of many definitions of education. If you ask me as a friend, if you ask me what should be education, I will tell you. I think our principal will agree with me. I would say the education should make students to become what they want to become. That is very important. Sometime I wanted to become. See, I still remember I am a gold medalist in BSc Mathematics. My own relatives, parents, they want me to appear for a civil service examination or Group 1 or bank BSRB examination. I said no. I don't know. Had I appeared, I would have not passed. That is a different story. But I said no. I simply denied. I don't want to become a IAS officer or Group 1 officer. I want to be a teacher. So education should make them to become what they want to become. Why I am insisting this one? Every time you go to any institution, you provide employable skills, See, if I am not mistaken, because Bishop Weber school teacher, college teachers would not mistake me, because they are all my good friends. If I am not mistaken, you see the deadly combinations. A deadly triad, I would say, teachers, parents, and students. Why deadly combination I say? Because every parent, you ask them, they want their children to get into Bishop Weber or IIT or St. Joseph College. Something like they always want their wards to get through a NEET examination. They want to become a collector, doctor, engineer. Have we ever let our students to become entrepreneur? We don't want them. Entrepreneurs are nation builders. Entrepreneurs are nation builders, but we prevent them. That's what, Michelangelo used to say, Michelangelo, everybody has got a beautiful winner within them waiting to be unleashed. But now we prevent our students to become what they want to become. So therefore, national education policy make them independent learning, providing all possibilities for them. Let them choose. That is why Swamiji says, Swami Vivekananda, let the child grow as the sapling grows. Let the child grow as the sapling grows. Education is not the amount of information putting into our brain, creating riots. So let the child grow as the sapling grows. Therefore, education should allow them to become what they want to become. That is very, very important for me. Especially, I think you all would agree with me. Therefore, let them be independent learners. Why should we spoon feed them? And sometimes students should not be underestimated by us. Let them learn. Let us throw all the resources and opportunities for them. And let them access, first of all, trial and error method. Let them access the resources. Let them be independent. It is their prime responsibility to become independent, so that they would be very successful coming out of with the talents what they have, and that platform must be thrown to them. That is very, very important. So you have got to instill knowledge of India and varied cultural and technological, because we don't know our culture. How many of us know the culture of India, Dravidian culture? Still we try to imbibe European culture. You see that event, what is that event? Big Boss. Horrible. The Big Boss, horrible. And they all imbibe in European culture. You are all Indians, so why should we follow European culture? The whole world worship the culture of India. It gives me great impulse to remember the Heisenberg, European writer. He says, in the West, we have built a beautiful ship, which has all comforts, but it has no compass. He says it has no compass. The ship is there, but compass is not there. Men like Mahatma Gandhi and Tagore found the compass, he says. So the compass is in India. Compass is in India, but you let your students to follow European culture. How many of us? Because we don't know our Dravidian culture or Indian culture, because we are not taught by Indian culture. Please try to understand my language. I am not telling you. In general, I am talking. Okay, friends. So therefore, we have got to instill the knowledge of India in students. And we have got, you see, as principal rightly pointed out, principal is rightly pointed out, you can't spot out any country without the contribution of India. Can you spot out any country? But we are not using any talents. We are not using the talents of any country. Do you have any European teachers in the Bishop Weber College? No. But you go to any country, America, can you find out any university without Indian professors, maths professors, especially? Because maths, I think principal would agree with me. Being a maths teacher, he worked in foreign countries. You see, you can't find out any university without maths professor, Indian maths professor. We have got Arya Bhaskar Acharya, a great mathematician. Arya Bhatta, a great mathematician. We have got. So what I want to say, this is very important. National education policy is focusing on that, and it tries to make education skill-based, as I told you. Now the skill development and entrepreneurship are two sides of a coin for a higher education institution. You have got to concentrate skill development and entrepreneurship, because you have to address the economy of India. Now academia has to join hands with the industry, research institutes, alumni, and other human resources, and you have to address the economy of India, like Jack Ma. So in that way, you have got to mull over. The NEP is mulling over strong focus on research and innovation that we are going to do. These are all my perspectives. And you see the NEP policy, National Education Policy 2020, the predominant focus of NEP. I appreciate NEP because the predominant focus of NEP is to ensure 21st century education. Now you have got to be a 21st century teacher, and you have got to have a shift from pedagogy 1.0 to pedagogy 4.0. Pedagogy 4.0 is very much essential because you have got to address Industry 4.0 revolution, where IoT is going to play a vital role. Internet of Things is going to play a vital role. Your college is known for computer science. You have been doing very good products, actually. You have been doing very well. So in that way, now IoT is going to play a vital role. Internet of Things is going to play a vital role now. And we have to prepare our students for 21st century education. Industry 4.0 revolution is very important. Therefore, it suggests you have knowledge, what we know, blend up traditional and modern knowledge. Mathematics is, corroborated with robotics. Language is corroborated with entrepreneurship. Science is corroborated with, related with, literacy, scientific literacy. So therefore, our students have to link the knowledge what we give them into different areas of specialization. That is very important. That we call high impact knowledge, which is the focus of NEP. You see the skills, you have got to be creativity, critical awareness, communication, collaboration. These skills are going to be dominated. These skills are going to be the focus that would help our teachers and students to represent the knowledge what they have. Yeah, many times, they have knowledge, but they don't have skills to operate their knowledge. So their knowledge goes in vain. By decay theory, they forget their knowledge. Though they are educated, they forget their knowledge because they don't have skills to operate their knowledge. This is a bottleneck we come across. We are all experienced teachers. We come across this bottleneck. And our students are not able to win the confidence of the system, employers or industry. So therefore, skills. And third one, character. How many of us are mindfulness? Perhaps whenever I come down to Bishop paper, I have experienced mindfulness. I am happy. That is why, I think, I am not for this virtual, webinar, because you should have given me opportunity to access our institution. Perhaps I would have joined you. I would have been sitting next to, Professor Umesh Samuel. Now, why I am telling you, see the university, nobody is happy, nobody is mindful. Everybody has got ego, bro. They fight each other. Just now, I was not able to resolve the problems of the geography department. Handing over, taking over problem. They are all fighting each other. I have been escaped by Whisker. I was escaped by Whisker. Otherwise, I would have been assaulted. So things like that, mindfulness is very important. The national education policy talks about mindfulness. It wants to make students and teachers happy, first of all. If I am not happy, I would not be able to perform what I could perform. So I must be happy, first of all. That is the reason you see, you come to Bishop paper, there will be a prayer. That will give you a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of peace, prosperity, motivation, happiness. Therefore, sometimes you speak more than what you expected. That is possible. The prayer really enthuses. The prayers enthuses. So such kind of good values, why don't we incorporate in all institutions? This is the best practice, I would say. Why don't let all the institutions follow? And that kind of character is very important. If one institution has character, do you think it will do? All the institutions must have the character. One institution, I'm happy, but I want all the institutions to have this character, mindfulness, the prayer, the curiosity, the courage, the resilient behavior. You see, still you are resilient. Why? Because even if you come out of difficult situation, you continue to have your rhythm, organizing webinar, continuous professional development programs. We have got to be resilient. We have got to be agile, so that even if we come across any volatile situation, uncertain situation, ambiguous situation, complex situation, we are able to continue to have our rhythm. We are able to learn each other. We are able to be happy. Even in the midst of pandemic, we are not pathetic. Am I correct or not? That's what, Professor Principal was telling. We are in the pandemic, but we have got more works to do. We cherish more work. That's what Principal was telling. So that means what? Principal does not bother about pandemic. I continue to work, put in hard work, meeting my students and stakeholders. No pandemic will prevent me. That is what he says. So that is how the principal is resilient. And now I have to be resilient. Everybody has to be resilient. That is part of national education policy. So, and another important thing is the metacognition. Many times we read, but we don't live by. That's a problem, actually. I'm sorry to say, blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see the God. We read, but our heart must be very pure. That's very important. That's what the Sermon of the Mountain, that's what the 10 Commandments. So in that way, many times they read something, but they don't apply the knowledge what they have in their life. So they have got to reflect what they learn, which is very, very important. National education policy gives importance to it. But how it is going to implement the framework is under pipeline. I think we all have to join hands. You can't just blame the policy or blame somebody. So now when we put our thoughts into it, I think we will create a good India. We would create a good India which could address the global demands. Already started addressing global demands, and I am so happy that India would address global demands. So this is the focus now. Look at the school education now. You see, school education till 5 year. That is the reason you see myself and Principal Professor Umesh Samuel sir. You know, we don't have a birth certificate, things like that. They will. How were we admitted in schools? The headmaster of the primary school asks you to touch your ear. Am I correct or not? Sometimes if you are very short, your hand is very small, you cannot get access the system, school. And you have to wait till you are 7 years old or 8 years old. But age will be modified. You know, even if you are 7 years, they will adjust the age. Now, that is not the case now. See, nicely it has been done. So till 5 years, it is not taken into account in the old system. But now you see, your strategy starts only when you are 3 years old. You know, Anganwadi, they have got foundational course and then preparatory course, middle, secondary. Friends, experiential learning is the focus of NEP. Experiential learning is the focus. That is why I can guarantee if experiential learning is implemented, adopted, definitely you can make make your children come out of knowledge, skill, character, and metacognition. It is possible. Experiential learning is the focus. So you see, you have got foundational, preparatory, 3 to 5 preparatory, and then middle classes from 6 to 8, and then secondary. You don't have higher secondary now. Secondary from 9th to 12th, 14 to 18, secondary. So therefore, from 3 years onwards, your education starts now, and you know, quality education. They develop all necessary infrastructure to feed instructional facilities for foundational, preparatory, middle, and secondary education. And I am so happy, you know, National Curricular and NCERT has taken up this initiative, National Curricular and Pedagogical Framework for Early Childhood Care and Education. You know, it gives importance to health of the child. I am so happy. Which primary school is taking care of health? I am paying 70,000 rupees for my child. They never give even a chocolate or a tea. And they grab money from me, and my child is not taken care of. My health of my child is not taken. Not even, you know, my child will not be even given a napkin. All the way I have to take a napkin and hand it over to the school. Can't they give 5 rupees napkin for my child? I have paid 70 to 1 lakh rupees. I'm just telling you, see, it is in camera, anyhow it is videoed, but still I'm telling the truth. Now you see, National Curricular and Pedagogical Framework for Early Childhood Care and Education, it gives importance to the health of the child. That is very important. They check the health, you know, they conduct board examination, common examination, third standard onwards. Why? They would be able to understand the gray area which has to be set right. The gray area which have to be set right. Now till 10th standard, whether you write or not, you will get through. You will be able to get through. The pandemic, you know, made us make every student get through, even if they have arrears. Am I correct or not? Now it is not possible in NEP. So that will, you know, definitely tell upon our institution. We work hard, we put our hard efforts to bring up the quality in institution. Now you ask us to make everybody get through, even if they have arrears. You see, sometimes it will tell upon our institution. So here, early childhood and care education, you see, they take care of their health. That is very, very important. So NCERT is planning accordingly. See, Anganwadis, sometimes the teachers are given certificate course training, continuous professional development program for the existing teachers to handle early childhood and care education. They are not left as free. They are properly oriented. They will be properly oriented to address the system. They will be nicely captivated, you know, they calibrate, you know, all the ideas, all the resources in such a way. Anganwadi teachers who are present now will be oriented nicely to address early childhood care and education. This is how the framework has already been ignited. It is under pipeline. So this is very, very important. You see, now mathematics, I think principal will appreciate maybe. You see, mathematical knowledge, right from the numeracy is very important. Basic mathematical knowledge is very important. So early childhood, that is the prerequisite now. Reading, writing, arithmetic, and mathematics. So in addition to that, mathematics. Previously arithmetic, now mathematics. So that your students will not have aversion towards mathematics. Everybody will love mathematics because without mathematics you can't do anything. Mathematics is an important core of any subject to learn. So in that way, initiatives have been taken at school level. And so I am so happy that you see digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing, Diksha. All the government schools will be given adequate infrastructure to access our high profile resources. Experiential learning, I told you, you see parent teachers ratio 30:1. You have formative and adaptive assessment. So previously formative assessment, is not taken care of. Sometimes your internal mark is 25 and external mark is 75. So everybody will concentrate only a semester. Internal mark, they will get whatever they will. Now it is not going to be continuous assessment. So in that way, now you see formative and adaptive assessment is possible. And you see the flexibility and choice of subjects. Vocational education started 6th standard onwards. They can choose. Suppose if I am good at plumbing, I can be a plumber. Even father of theory of relativity, Einstein wanted to be a plumber. When he was asked a question, if you are given a next birth, what would you become? He said, I will be a plumber rather than physicist. So if I am interested in plumber, you make me a plumber. What is wrong? Even after becoming a plumber, if I am innovative, I think I can make the difference. So in that way, vocational integration, vocational education, will be commencing 6th standard onwards. And you see, you've got a national curriculum framework for secondary education. The national textbooks with local content and flavor. You've got 3-language formula till middle class. Hindi, Tamil, and English. But now, it has been rethought that Hindi is not compulsory. If you want to access, you can access. Otherwise, your region mother tongue and Tamil, your mother tongue and English. Now you see, you've got opportunities to learn. Even government school students can access English language, foreign languages like Korea, Japanese, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Russians. Government school students are allowed, get an opportunity to learn these languages. And you see 360-degree assessment. Please make a note on it. Apart from teacher-based assessment, you got 360-degree assessment. Personality report, I would say, personality appraisal. Personality development appraisal, I would say. So in that way, I'm so happy to say that the National Assessment Center is going to be constituted. Excuse me. So National Assessment Center is going to be constituted. This is one of the recommendations of NEP 2020, where it will take care of 360-degree assessment. Self-assessment, peer assessment, project-based inquiry-based quizzes, role plays, group work, apart from teacher-based assessment. However, the teacher wants to assess, they can assess, but these 360-degree assessment are part of your higher education system, school education system and higher education system. And you see, PARAC, you see, performance assessment, review and analysis knowledge for holistic development. So this is one important thing, personality appraisal is possible. And now you see support for gifted students, scholarship. Support for gifted students is the special talents. Now NEP lays emphasis on, establishing, launching topic-centered clubs, science circle, math circle. Some of them we have been doing it. But what about schools? So ego clubs, health well-being clubs, language circle, drama circles, so that students can exhibit their talents. They can unleash their potential within them. So you have to provide a platform to unleash their potential. That is possible. You see the health and well-being clubs. So in that way, which is possible, Olympiad and competition, that is also part of NEP. Special meritorial scholarship for rural area, students from rural area. If you identify rural talents, they will be given special scholarship so that they can easily access education. They will not be dropouts. So this is another positive points of NEP. For teachers, you see, for teachers, teacher eligibility test, and then continuous professional development for teachers and heads, career management progression, incentivizing all teachers doing their best. And you see professional standards for teacher, NCTE, National Curriculum for Teacher Education, restructured as professional standard body, National Professional Standards for Teachers. So promotions and salary increases not on the size of the duration or experience or tenure of seniority. They have to show their competency. Unless they are competent, no promotion. So in that way, it has been planned. Now you see school education, equitable and inclusive education, learning for all, gender inclusion fund is created. Gender inclusion fund is created, and then rights of the person with the disabilities, the assistive technologies are going to be Act 2016 is going to, exactly it is going to be adopted. 2060 Act, I think Professor Umesh Samuel sir from social work will appreciate national education policy because rights of the person with the disabilities. Act 2016 is completely is going to be adopted. So that is a good step. Now look at our higher education, NEP for higher education. You see, there are 3 types of institutions which are going to exist. Higher education institution like teaching intensive universities, research intensive university, autonomous degree granting colleges. So teaching universities, I think teaching will be the predominant, bit of research. Research intensive research will be predominant, more of research, less of teaching. And autonomous colleges will strike a balance between research and teaching at undergraduate level and some postgraduate level. So you got HIGI, Higher Education Council of India. I see, I'm so happy. Something which is going to really happen in good thing happen in higher education, that they are going to concentrate on STEM education to address the industry 4.0 revolution. Now, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, part compulsory curriculum for all undergraduate programs with the different intensity, so that students would be able to understand the recent developments in science and technology. You can produce well-rounded individuals towards 21st century capacities to address industry 4.0 revolution. So this is one good thing I am happy to find. As our principal rightly pointed out, you have got to have 3 or 4 year degree program with multiple entry and exit options. 1 year certificate, 2 years diploma, and 3 years degree, something like that. Okay, it is a good system. I don't know whether if it is experimented, I think we would be able to sort out. See, once you experiment it, we are all educated, we are all highly intellectuals. And once if it is experimented, I think we would be able to understand the difficulties and easily we can overcome the difficulties. There is no difficult thing in it. And you see another important thing, very important thing we have got to be very imperative to note down, that NEP introduced ABC, Academic Bank of Credit. Now, Academic Bank of Credit, they can have a transfer of credit from any part of the world. They can have one semester, any part of the world, or one course. They can do it in EDX or Coursera or Udacity or Khan Academy, FutureLearn, Allison. So it is a now they are exposed to different teachers. They are exposed to world teachers. So this is an important thing for all of us to appreciate, Academic Bank of Credit. And you got 2 year, 1 year postgraduate program, 1 year MSc, MA, and MPhil. No, there will be no MPhil. MPhil is already taken up. Next year onwards, we don't have MPhil. And you see, undergraduate student can access PhD. 4-year undergraduate student, not 3-year undergraduate, 4-year. Why? Because enough inputs on research are part and parcel of their curriculum, undergraduate level. It is like honors. I think I already told Bishop Weber College that when I was doing my MSc Mathematics in American College, my PG HOD qualification is BA Economics. BA Economics, Professor KJ Rajan, his qualification was BA till he was retired, and he was getting the PG Mathematics. Will he be allowed right now? Because we bother about only PhD, not the skills. See, undergraduate, I was perfectly educated by an undergraduate teacher, BA Economics. He did not have any other qualification. He taught me space mechanics, fluid dynamics, rocket dynamics. There was nobody to replace him, if I am right. So, in that way, Sir C.V. Raman, you see, Sir C.V. Raman, he guided PhD without PhD. A Nobel laureate, he could become a Nobel laureate without PhD. Credit goes to Mukherjee, the then Vice Chancellor of University of Calcutta. He gave him opportunity, and that let him, bring laurels to this country. Therefore, we will have to experiment it. That is very important. That's what, instead of lamenting, whispering, we have got to experiment it. You see, pedagogy emphasis on communication skills, discussion, debate, so that you can have well-rounded individuals. Sometimes I come across gold medalist who is afflicted with social phobia. They don't want to talk to anybody. If you ask him to speak in the gathering, he does not want to speak, but he is a gold medalist. What is the use? I don't understand. So you must make him a well-rounded personality. They must be able to address the gathering. They should overcome all the difficulties. They should not have stage fear. They must be a public speaker. So all these things are very important. But you see, sometimes the higher education system is not able to create a well-rounded individual who can address the system. I mean, Industry 4.0 revolution. And you see GCED, Global Citizenship Education. Global citizenship education is possible. They can just come and settle down here in India, like our people, settle down in America, getting green card. Okay, let them come and settle down here. Let them be attracted towards our education, our institution. What is wrong? You see, we are going to create NEP laid guidelines to create public university on par with IITs and IIMs, premier institutes, which is possible. And you see, this is very important point for all of us to know. See, your college has got international office, international hostel, or international guest house. Now you see, all the higher education institutions have to establish an international student office. Why? Because you have to attract foreign students. If you attract foreign students, international ambience must be there. And we have to sometimes equip ourselves to have international accent. I think we will be put in soup, especially the teachers like me will be put in soup. I don't know how I have to improve my American accent. Sometimes Indian accent, I find it very difficult. I have to improve. So such motivated faculty members we need. Energized faculty members need. Optimistic faculty members we need. Capable faculty members we need to address internationalization of higher education, which is possible by NEP 2020. Equity and inclusion in higher education, you see, it will mitigate the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost mitigate because, government is advised to earmark more amount of GDP for education. That is very important. Gross domestic product. Therefore, all the higher education institutions, okay, are not, money grabbers. They have to be supported by the government. Therefore, they will mitigate the opportunity cost. Now, all GST, all these things sometimes will not be there. Now, whenever we collect fees from the students, they have to pay GST also. So, it is not good. Sometimes it will be taken up. That's what, this is my opinion. I don't know whether it is going to happen or not. So, mitigate opportunity cost provide more financial assistance and scholarship for socioeconomically disadvantaged students, conduct outreach on higher education opportunities and scholarship. This is very important outreach. Make admissions process more inclusive, not exclusive, more inclusive, irrespective of linguistic problems, irrespective of physical, mental, emotional, cultural. You have to attract students, inclusive in nature, and making curriculum more inclusive. Sometime, you will be skeptical how it is possible. See, guidelines is prepared. You don't have to worry. National curriculum framework for higher education. So they will take care of it. It has been comments ignited. You will be given clear-cut guidelines, strategic points, so that you can easily implement it. You don't have to worry about it. So make curriculum more inclusive, increase employability potential. That is what the principal was addressing, the employability potential of higher education programs, whether employable or entrepreneurs. Both for both the extremities, both the points, I think a national education policy addresses. Friends, you see, NEP for teacher education, I don't want to take much time, the Justice J.S. Verma Commission will be adopted. Now, Verma Commission, why I am telling you, he said 95% of teacher education institutions in this country are not delivering goods. They spoil their students. They are not meant for producing good teachers. This is the judgment of Justice Verma Commission. So therefore, it has to be revamped. Teacher education institution will be revamped. So the 2-year B.Ed will be 4-year integrated program. That's what I wanted to say. 4-year integrated program, and minimum number of hours for actual teaching experience will be strengthened. By 2025, I think at least 50% of learners through the higher education system to vocational education. Because you see the NSTC, National Skill Development Corporation, through National Skill Qualification Framework, it says another 5 years we require 300 million skilled forces. I think that is the reason, Government of India constituted a sector skill council. I think you are well aware, because you are offering BWork programs, you are well aware. So in that way, National Committee for Integration of Vocational Education, NCIVE, was constituted is going to be constituted. So this is the guidelines of NEP. Therefore, vocational education is very important. That is the reason I felt that education should help them to become what they want to become. If I want to become, a basketballer, you let me to become a basketballer. Now you see this fellow, Natarajan from Salem, is playing for India. If you ask him to do mathematics, he will not be able to do. He will fail in mathematics. But now you see he is playing for India. The whole world knows him. Why do you force him to learn mathematics? I don't understand. So let him play on his personal demand. His personal demand is to become cricketer. Now you see a left arm fast bowler, we have got it. And first match itself, we took 2 wickets. No, just because we are learning in the afternoon, I thought we have to play some cricket so that you will be interested. I'm sorry, sir. So in that way, National Committee for Integration of Vocational Education. So we have to make them what they want to become is very important. Reimagining vocational education. And you see the NRF is a good thought. National Research Foundation. So they have got so many ideas. Fund competitive, peer reviewed. See, everything you depend on UGC sometime. UGC concentrates both funds and academia. That is the reason sometimes UGC is not able to monitor properly, to be frank. But now you see we have got different bodies. Everybody is, every responsibility is delegated by HEGI. HEGI will be the top, and the responsibilities will be delegated so that we, higher education institution, can easily access. That is a good idea actually. As far as I am concerned, it is a good idea. Fund competitive peer reviewed grant proposal, all type of across all discipline, seed money, grow and facilitate research. So these are all good things, recognize outstanding research and progress. Why? Because KEGI, you got, you see, National Higher Education Regulatory Council, that will take care of only academia. National Accreditation Council, instead of NAC, now we are going to have NAC, National Accreditation Council. Higher Education Grants Council, that the HEGC will take care of only grants. That will take care of the academic mileage, and this will take care of grants mileage. So General Education Council, then if you want to have General Education Council, that will explore possibilities of updating it. So these are all the verticals, important verticals of KEGI, Higher Education Council of India. And these things are very good that now UGC is taking every, it is centralized body, appellant body, which takes care of academia, takes care of fund, everything. That is the reason sometimes it is chaotic. They are not able to concentrate. And if you don't have no Hindi, sometimes you cannot access UGC. That is a problem. We are victimized, especially. People from Tamil Nadu are victimized because, all small, youngsters are working, especially girls. If you don't talk in Hindi, you can't communicate to them. It's very difficult. This is my bad experience I experienced. Okay. So that won't happen now. You see, you have got, representations from different parts of the country. That is also there in NEP. So one of the recommendations of NEP. You see, this is very important thing which I wanted to share with you. National Educational Technology Forum. It is a beautiful idea. The educational technology does not mean the Department of Education Technology. Sometimes, we should not claim ourselves. We are only teaching MND, MPhil, PhD. That is not the concept of technology. Now, whatever the educational recent development in technology will be updated to the faculties cutting across different domains. Faculty of science, faculty of arts, faculty of literature, faculty of education. So that does a beautiful job actually. Provide independent evidence-based, these things are very important. So this National Technology Forum will take care of it. So now we have got plenty of educational technology forums now, solutions. Baiju is there, Vedantu. In India itself, so many things are there, even foreign educational technology solutions. But they are all very expensive. Here it is policy-based in the National Technology Forum, National Educational Technology Forum, that will provide independent and evidence-based advices. So this technology is very successful. You all can embrace it. You all can use it. Because sometimes we don't have to spare our time to experiment it, which is not required. And this Educational Technology Forum will take care of it. And it will build intellectual and institutional capacities in educational technology. It will envision strategy thrust areas in this domain. It will articulate new directions for research and innovation. I request all the faculty members, if you find time, you please go through the initiatives of a National Education Technology Forum. You will enjoy it. Because sometimes we don't have to sit and spare our time, which technology is more appropriate, things like that. It is going to give us evidence-based best practice, so that they will experiment it, they will research it, they will tell us, this technology is more effective. So that will really give us, good, productive time for me to think of any other productivity. So in that way, the technology use and integration. And now you see online and digital education, ensuring equitable use of technology. You got virtual labs. Now itself you have got e-Acharya, but still it is going to be strengthened. You got virtual labs. You got pilot studies for online education. They are going to establish a digital infrastructure, and then online teaching platform and tools, content creation, digital. We have right now, but it is going to be updated. It is going to be upskilled. We are made to upskill. Now our SWAYAM will compete with the EDX. That's what I wanted to say. Our videos are not good, but if you look at EDX, The videos of perfect videos you can see, quality videos. So therefore, that would be, addressed by content creation and creation of digital repository, addressing digital divide. So no digital divide because rural India can access, and all the teachers will be made digital natives. Now we are digital immigrants. You will be made digital natives so that you will have mastery over all technologies. So you got virtual labs, you got training for the teachers, online assessment, examination, blended models of teaching. All these things, okay, are going to be ensured by national education policy, and you will all the teachers will be given proper orientation, skill-based orientation, not the orientation organized by HRDC. This is skill-based, very meticulous orientation. How accountable orientation are going to be done. And last slide maybe. All these initiatives will focus on stakeholders satisfaction. Stakeholders satisfaction. I don't know whether I have talked about national stakeholder satisfaction. Your customer satisfaction is very important. You see the input, your students, your curricula, faculty, non-teaching, facilities and infrastructure, teaching resources. But here teaching, learning, staff development, evaluation, research, administration. Ultimately, that has to produce skilled forces, employable graduates, entrepreneurs, startups, research and publications addressing global citation index. That is very important. Now our global citation is very, very poor. We are able to contribute only 5.31%. That is what the statistic software says. Site says. That is objective statistics. We are able to contribute only 5.31% of global citation, whereas China contributes 21%. Therefore, we have to improve our global citation index. Forget about care journals. Publish your articles in top level journals. Indexed with the Scopus, Bentley, PubMed, Web of Science. This is very important. So journals of readership is very important. Sometimes, you do, you submit an article in functional analysis, but you submit it in mathematics journal. But you have to submit it in the journal which is pertinent for functional analysis, so that the readership will be improved. So many people will cite your article. So your citation will increase. So in that way, the skilled employees, publication and output, contribution to community is very important. So the predominant, focus, the prime focus of NEP is stakeholders satisfaction, and it will let them what they want to become. So if they want to concentrate vocational education, they decide the school itself. I want to be a vocational. I wanted to, wanted my career to be. I want my career to be vocational education. Let them be vocational education. Why should we disturb them? It is a good thought actually, because we need skilled forces cutting across different domain. If everybody becomes teacher, everybody becomes collector and doctor, who will take care of other work responsibilities? So therefore, we need to touch upon various domains. In that way, national education policy is trying to, help us and, help us to, fulfill the needs of our society. In fact, that is how we have to create social impact. So my sincere thanks are due to our principal and Professor Umesh Samuel ji for having given me good opportunity to get connected with my friends. After all, they are all my friends. And perhaps, if you have inquiries, okay, we will all discuss. Don't be under the impression that only I have to answer the question, because you are also equally competent to answer the questions raised by our friends. So thank you very much for the opportunity given to me, because I want to be well timed. It is 4:30. So thank you very much.
Dear participants, if you have any questions and suggestions, you can ask to our resource person. Participants, if you have any questions, you can unmute your mic and you can ask to our resource person.
I think they want to take pity upon me. Because anytime I'll come meet them, they will discuss with me. Maybe you can ask me question. You will think, myself and principal would be able to answer you.
They can even post in the chat box.
Participants, you can post your questions in the chat box also.
Yeah.
You can post your queries in the chat box.
Chat box was disabled. I think they have already gone through 66 pages. So maybe the case, I guess. Any question, friends?
Okay, if no questions from the audience, we can move to the final session. Gratitude is the single most important thing to living a successful and fulfilled life. I request Dr. Suresh Frederick Sir, Dean of Research and Development, to present vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Revered principal, respected chief guest, learned colleagues. Indeed, it's a great honor for me to propose the word of thanks. First of all, I wish to thank our principal for arranging this, because this is a need of the hour. Thank you, sir. Thank you for arranging a meeting on NEP. Thank you very much, sir. And you know that he is leader and captain of the ship. Thank you, sir. At this juncture, I also wish to thank the chief guest. He's the right person for the right topic. Sir, you elucidated the finer points for us. Thank you very much. And we are indeed indebted to you for elucidating all this in a very clear hues. Thank you, sir. I also wish to thank the organizers, especially I wish to thank Dr. Umesh Samuel, sir, Vice Principal Projects, for making this possible. And also wish to thank the IQAC Deanery, especially the Dean IQAC, Dr. Prince Merlin, and their able lieutenants, all associate deans and all of them for such a beautiful organization of this. We also wish to thank all the deans, Dean of Sciences especially, and also wish to thank Vice Principal Aiden for starting this, initiating this with a very well-worded prayer. We also wish to thank the innovation personification of this college, Dr. James Manoharan, and his able people are seeing and able to see a lot of young lieutenants sitting there. Thank you, sir. Thank you for arranging this in a very effective way. At this juncture, I wish to thank all the participants. So I can see many in number. So I think this will be an eye-opener for us. I also listened to many such maybe deliberations in TV, and I think many of them are jaundiced, and with some kind of motivation, they are thinking about this or that. But this is really objective, and we are able to see the finer points. Thank you, sir. Especially the special thanks to the chief guest, and I wish to thank all the people behind the screen, especially the persons from IT department, others, and also the people who are involved in organizing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Education is a social process. So we have one query in chat box.
Yeah. What kind of economic help can be obtained from any UGC source by an enthusiastic 12th study for improving his qualification besides his, sports as passion? Yeah, certainly. You see, I think I have not given you that idea. See, the curricular and extracurricular. See, suppose if you excel in sports, so it also comes under meritorious scholarship. Perhaps, you will be, if you want to be a sportsman, that's what is a kind of, this thing. You see, even primary education itself, the sports, the entrepreneurial skills and vocational education are given importance. And if you excel in education, in sports, you will be given scholarship. You will be considered for meritorious scholarship. So that we can create so many, what do you call, with Nadarajans for different sports. Certainly possible, sir. And another question, under the new system, one has to study for 4 years to complete their graduation. How the question arises to why the student will continue with the program if he or she can get, is a good question, get the diploma in 2 years. So here you see systems, should not deprive me. I can give you one example. It is a very good question, perhaps. You see, I am doing my undergraduate. Now it is not affordable, or I fall sick or something like that. Now, if I discontinue the system, I don't think so. Again, I can rejoin. It's very difficult. University system will not allow you. So our university system, you see, if you suppose if the candidate has done MSc biotechnology and PhD in microbiology, they can neither get into biotechnology or microbiology. So after doing PhD, he is victimized. So and so is victimized now. And that would not happen here. Now what happens? You see, 1 year, if you could not continue, or if you don't want to continue, if you feel contented, that certificate course enough for me to win the confidence of the system, you go. Why do you want to force him to be there 4 years? You should not force me to be in 3 years. If I want to go, get away in the middle, I must be certified properly. But I am not certified. I am certified very badly. I am called dropouts. This is a very bad system. 1 year I have done undergraduate system. Now I am endorsed to be a dropout. Nobody, I will not be married by anyone. I will not find this thing. It's a very bad endorsement. You see, 1 year I have done BSc. Why do you say I have not studied? I have studied nothing. I have not access to higher education. But 1 year I have already accessed higher education. But you certify me, I have never access to certification. But that will be taken care of here. 1 year, come on, you have access to your higher education. We will give you a certificate. 2 years, come on, we will give you diploma, something like that. It is good actually. I see, everything must be flexible. That's very important. If something is not flexible, it is not productive, I tell you. You see, if my hair is not flexible, everybody will laugh at me. All the hair will, sometime will be vertical. Nobody will look at me. So everybody must be flexible. That's very important. So your education must be flexible. But very rigid education we have. See, Dr. Suresh Frederick is a physics professor. Sometimes he is interested in chemistry. The system will not allow him. But he has got tremendous skills. Doing chemistry or mathematics, even social work. Dr. Suresh can do social work, but he is prevented. He has got social work skills. Why is he prevented? That's my question. He has got skills to exhibit, but the education system prevent him. Very, very rigid system. We have to get away. Now you see, if you have MSc mathematics, then only you can do PhD mathematics. Why physics they can do mathematics, PhD in mathematics, but he is not eligible. He is not qualified. Though he has got brilliance to do BSc mathematics, Dr. Suresh Frederick is not allowed to to PhD mathematics. Very, very rigid system we have. They say equivalent. How can you equate two courses? I don't understand. BSc mathematics is equivalent to BSc statistics. How can they be equal? I don't understand. If they are equal, then why do we have two different courses? BSc electronics is equivalent to BSc physics. Then why do you want to have electronics? I don't understand. Really chaotic, skeptical, speculative. I don't know. I am searching for the words. Because I am a math teacher, I am very poor in English. So I am searching for the words to tell. These things are really, big cheat, I would say. So let the system be flexible. Whatever I want to study, let me study. I have skills, very, very important. நீங்க ஒண்ணும் இல்ல, ஒரே இது சொல்றேன் பாருங்களேன். இந்த ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்றதுக்கு மட்டும் அனுமதிங்க. நான் டைரக்டர் காலேஜ் கரிக்குலம் டெவலப்மெண்ட் செல்ல இருந்தப்ப பான்செக்கர் காலேஜ் தஞ்சாவூர்ல ஒரு பிள்ளை வந்து கோல்டு மெடலிஸ்ட் பிஎஸ்சி பாட்னில. நல்லா கவனிச்சுக்கோங்க, கோல்டு மெடலிஸ்ட். இந்த இஷ்யூவை நான் டீல் பண்ணேன், அதுக்காக சொல்றேன். அந்த பிள்ளை டிஎன்பிஎஸ்சில பாஸ் பண்ணிருச்சு செகண்ட் குரூப்ல. அந்த பிள்ளைக்கு இது கொடுக்கல. ஏன் தெரியுமா? ஆர்ட்ஸ் குரூப் எடுத்து பிஎஸ்சி பாட்னி கொடுத்துட்டாங்க அவங்க. பிளஸ் டூல ஆர்ட்ஸ் குரூப், அக்கௌண்டன்சி, காமர்ஸ், எக்கனாமிக்ஸ், ஹிஸ்டரி அந்த பிள்ளை படிச்சது. பிளஸ் டூல கொடுத்தது பிஎஸ்சி பாட்னி. எப்படிங்க கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா, யூனிவர்சிட்டியில நாம்ஸ் எப்படி இருக்குன்னா, பாஸ் இன் ஹையர் செகண்டரின்னு இருந்துச்சு. அதனால அந்த காலேஜ்ல அட்மிட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. பாஸ் இன் ஹையர் செகண்டரி, ஏதோ ஒரு ஹையர் செகண்டரி பாஸ் பண்ணா பிஎஸ்சி. ஆனா அந்த பிள்ளை ஆர்ட்ஸ் குரூப்ல இருந்து கோல்டு மெடல் வாங்கியிருக்குங்க. யோசிச்சு பாருங்க. ஹோலி கிராஸ் காலேஜ், பிஷப் பீப்பர் காலேஜ் எல்லாம் பீட் பண்ணிருக்குன்னு அர்த்தம். அவன் கரெக்டா இருந்தான், கோல்டு மெடல்னா. அந்த பிள்ளைக்கு கவர்மெண்ட்ல தரமாட்டான். நீ உனக்கு என்ன, டிஎன்பிஎஸ்ல எக்ஸாம்ல பாஸ் பண்ணணும். நீ ஆப்டிடியூட் எக்ஸாம் வச்சிருக்க, அதுல பாஸ் பண்ணணும். பாஸ் பண்ணியாச்சு, அப்ப நான் குவாலிஃபைடு தானே அர்த்தம். பிளஸ் டூல நீ வந்து குரூப் சரியில்லை, அதனால வேலை கொடுக்க மாட்டேங்கிற. வெரி வெரி ரிஜிட் சிஸ்டம் சார். யார் கேட்டிருக்காது அந்த கொஸ்டின்? அது மை ஃப்ரெண்ட், ஐ ஹாவ் டு really tell my friend C. Sukumar. See, very very rigid system. We have to change this. And you say choice based credit system, then why do you say core paper? Why do you say core paper? Quantum mechanics is a core paper for MSc physics. Why do you say? I am asking you. So when you say choice based credit system, you are not giving me any choices for core paper. Why should I learn core paper? You give me choice. So if you think it over, you would understand our education is very very rigid. It must be flexible. Therefore it will definitely get rid of rigidness in curriculum and the conduct of the degree courses and diploma courses. Therefore it will be useful to the students. Dr. Sukumar, are you convinced? I don't know. Then once again, any other question? Dr. Sukumar is asking, if he left the program midway after 2 years, then he could easily have 2 years of experience work in which will be valuable in long run. Certainly, that's what I wanted to say. Am I correct? That's what I wanted to say. See, நான் ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா ஒரு எக்ஸாம் சொல்றேன் பாருங்க. என்னுடைய பிஜி மேத்ஸ்னுடைய ஹெச்ஓடி பிஏ எக்கனாமிக்ஸ்ங்க. இப்போ பிஏ எக்கனாமிக்ஸ் படிச்ச பிஷப் பீப்பர் காலேஜுக்குள்ளே நுழைய விடுவோமா? வாத்தியார் ஆக்குவீங்களா? ஸ்கூல் டீச்சரே ஆக்க முடியாது, பிஎட் படிக்கணும். நான் கேட்குறேன், ஏன் பிஎட் படிக்கணும்? ஒருத்தர் நல்லாவே சொல்லி தர்றாரு. நான் ரெட்ரீட் நிறைய அட்டன் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அமெரிக்கன் ஸ்கூல்ல இருப்ப ரெட்ரீட் நிறைய, அவங்கெல்லாம் பிஎடே இல்லை, அவ்வளோ அழகா டீச் பண்ணுவாங்க. நீங்க யோசிச்சு பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா? அந்த பைபிளை சொல்லும் போது, ஐ காட் லாட் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜிஸ் அண்ட் டெக்னிக்ஸ் ஃப்ரம் தம், தோஸ் ஹூ டிட் நாட் ஹேவ் பிஎட். They were very good teachers without BEd. Then why do you want them? BEd வந்து ஒரு ஆப்ஷனலா இருக்கலாம், அவ்வளவுதான். அதுக்காக ஒரு நல்ல டீச்சர் பிஎடே இல்லாம இருந்தாலும் அவரையும் சேர்த்துக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறது என்னுடைய பாலிசி. I don't know how many of you would agree with me. So very very rigid system. It has to be got rid of. So it will have its values in a long run. But only thing is, we have to experiment it. So unless we experiment it, we should not lament and criticize. Let us experiment it, and then we find out the gray areas or difficulties that we encounter. Then we would find solutions. We are all intellectuals to find solutions for the difficulties to be encountered the days to come. So my sincere thanks once again for all of you for lending your ears to me. So we will explore another opportunity to meet all the teachers. Okay,
Thanks, sir.
another occasion.
Thank you very much, sir, sparing your valuable time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.